19.
Morning, everyone.
Hi.
Morning.
Morning.
Oh, lovely to see you all. Old friends and new friends, which is how it should be. So could I ask that everybody goes on mute, please? Otherwise, Lisa, can you mute people and, like, presumably not me, otherwise there'll be a lot of interpretive dance happening, which will make it memorable, let's be honest. How are we doing for numbers, Lisa?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We've got 41, including us.
So
Just
how
marking everyone off quickly.
How many organisations?
Got at least 20. I've not managed to mark everyone off yet.
Okay, so can I just say a massive hello to everyone and thank you for coming along to this Tpas AGM. We are going to go ahead whether or not we are actually quorate, and Lisa's doing lots of adding up in the background, with no substantive decisions to make other than accepting the accounts today. So if we end up not being quorate, what we will do is ask for ratification sort of later on. But for now, thank you for coming along. We'll be recording this meeting for minutes purposes. If anyone's unhappy about that, can you let Lisa know in the chat? And please use the hands up function or the chat function to ask any questions or put any comments throughout the meeting. And if you've got any technical difficulties, please put those in the chat box as well. And it says here on my script, we will try to help you. Just be really clear, that won't be me trying to help you, because that would do nothing other than make everything worse. But somebody will. So, as I said, thank you for coming along. We'll shortly be hearing about our financial results from April 23 to March 24 from our auditors at Beavers and Struthers. I'm delighted that Sue's going to be here to present them. Before I start, though, I want to just acknowledge who's not with us today. Obviously, you will know as our members that our CEO, Jenny, is taking some time out of Tpas at the moment. I spoke to her this morning and she asked me to pass on her thanks to all of our members who've sent her good wishes over the last few months. She's obviously not able to respond to all of them, but all of them mean something to her. She wants you to know that her treatment is progressing as hoped for, and she can't wait to be back with us as soon as possible. But we're not going to let her back until we know that she's Jenny and up and running and able to do that.
Sorry. Oh, right, I'll turn off for a minute. So,
hello. Right, okay, I'll just carry on. But so before we start, I just wanted to introduce you to
no, it isn't.
Deb Bannigan, who is our interim chief executive, and Deb is going to be with us for 6 months to keep the ship afloat. I don't know if you want to say a quick hello.
I'll just say hello. It's lovely to meet those of you that have been able to be here. Hope to meet you in person before too long, but I am only here for 6 months, by which time we are all hopeful that Jenny will be well and able to return. So I am very much just holding the space for her and supporting the senior leadership team to do their excellent work in the interim.
Oh, thank you, Deb. You'll be able to see from the accounts that 23-24 was another positive financial year for Tpas. And those of you with long memories will know that's a real sort of turnaround over the last, if you take a medium term look at Tpas. We are continuing to focus on our plan to build a sound and stable financial footing, with a view to looking at how we can enhance services to our members. We are at heart, we do lots and lots of things at Tpas, and I'm really proud of the breadth of services and things that we do with such a small number of staff. But essentially we are a membership organisation, and I know that we want to invest in what we provide to our members. So hopefully more on that later. Even though, again, we're focusing on the past today while sharing these accounts with you, I just wanted to bring you up to date and say a little bit about where we are now. And I know that Louise will pick up on this later. But in terms of members, we've reached a milestone. We've got 339 landlord members. Can we have some clappy hands? Because that's the most members that we have ever had at Tpas, and we are really, really proud of the fact that we are extending our reach across the number of tenants who live in social housing, putting engagement front and centre. And we also have a relationship with 50 commercial members. Again, so it's what people have told us over the years is that services that tenants receive from contractors are as important and have as much impact on them as services that they receive directly from their landlord. So it's an area of work we'll be talking to you a little bit about later. We hope and we're really pleased that you see Tpas membership as important as ever. I think the social housing sector is facing challenges that, we say every year that we're facing challenges the like of which we've never seen before. And then something else happens, and it's sort of like 2023 said, hold my pint to 2022. We were coming out of COVID during the time of these accounts. We've obviously got damp and mould having a spotlight shone on it throughout the sector. We've got the new regulatory regime, which we are really, really proud at Tpas to have played our small part in getting the regulatory standards to where we think they need to be. We've got, I'm not even going to talk about the world, because why would you talk about the world? Who watches the news anymore? I can't do it. I've taken news notifications off my phone. It feels like a scary place, but it also feels like the communities which our social housing landlords are working in are at a risk of a fracture that we've not actually seen for a long, long time, and some brilliant work being done by engagement staff across the country to try and hold communities together in the face of what seem like existential threats from around the world. The senior leadership team are going to take you through more of the work that Tpas has been doing, and a quick run through the key things that we've tried to keep them to time. But as you know, we are blessed at Tpas to employ absolute enthusiasts. You don't come to work at Tpas if you don't love what you do. And I know they're looking forward to sharing it with you. I'd also like to take a moment to thank my board colleagues. Thank you all for your support and hard work. It really is appreciated. And on the behalf of the board, the biggest thank you is to you as our members for staying with us. Thank you. So I'm going to move on to item 3, which is the minutes of the AGM held on the 8th of March 2024. We need to approve and accept these minutes as a true and accurate record of the meeting. Given the absolute nightmare of trying to do this over Zoom, I'm going to take your silence as assent rather than go around the room. So let's leave it a minute, and we've not had any messages saying that people are unhappy with the minutes. So could I ask someone to propose and second the minutes, please? Board colleagues, please feel free to jump in, otherwise it's just me.
I'm happy to propose, Alison.
Thank you. So I have got, thank you. I've got Amy, Asia and Sue from Decorum. So our minute taker can capture those. So thank you very much. I'm going to go over to Louise to see if we've got any apologies.
We have had some apologies in, as far as I'm aware, Alison. Lisa's got a list of them and she's going to share them with you shortly, as far as I know. So we'll maybe just have to come back to that list.
Okie doke.
Not many though, I'm afraid. Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? There's not many.
Yeah. So that's good, thank you. We just need to get these right for the minutes. And I just want to check, is Sue on the call now?
She's not. No, there seems to be some hold up that Lisa's had to go and sort out, Alison. So she's on that now and she's chasing that. So hopefully, whatever the hold up is, it'll be sorted as soon as, and we'll let you know.
Thank you. Sometimes it is easier to be in a room, isn't it? So I'll pass you a little bit of paper and say freestyle. So what I'm going to do is move down the agenda and then hopefully come back up. Otherwise, we'll have to have a plan B. Tpas governance update. I just wanted to say that we don't have one. And I've got, just for the sake of transparency, we've spent the last year bedding in our new governance structure. As you know, you met our new board members on this call last year. So it's probably a good time for Deb and I to get together and just sit and look, is there any housekeeping that needs to be done in the next 12 months? And we will, of course, keep you updated on that. So I think we'll now move on to our senior leaders update. This is the interesting bit, let's be honest, where they're going to run you through a little bit through the work that Tpas has been doing, and then hopefully we will get back to the accounts. And in coming up with the running order, it was decided that this is our meeting for our members, so we will put our membership front and centre, and Louise is going to share some highlights with you.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for that, Alison. And good afternoon to everybody. Lovely to see so many of our members and board members and staff members with us on this session today. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm given about 5 minutes, and I was kind of struggling in terms of what to sort of use my 5 minutes for, because as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, it's been a really busy time at Tpas over the last 12 months. You know, nothing changes there. So I thought what I would start with is really sharing with you an overview of the membership and giving you some idea where we're at with that. And then maybe talk about some of the highlights from last year that some of you were no doubt a part of and shared with us. And then also a little bit about what we're going to be doing for our members in the next 12 months, because obviously that's key for yourselves as members, but also for Tpas as a business. So I'm just going to bring some breaking news, and Alison probably doesn't know that, but we've just had another new member join. So that's given us the grand total of 340 members, which is fantastic news. So the London Borough of Hillingdon, are the 340th member of Tpas. So I think that's a real celebration of where we've got to in terms of our membership, but we're not obviously resting on our laurels with that, because we want to continue growing Tpas and making sure we're also offering a quality offer to our members as well. So with those 340 members, it's really interesting to see how we've travelled really over the last 5 years. since COVID. Back in March 2020, we had 231 members. So you can see over those 5 years what the growth's been. And I think, interestingly, a big part of that growth has been amongst our local authority members. So that's been a lovely kind of, sort of growth to see that we are getting more local authority members joining us as well. So 340 members, as I've said, big growth, and also local authorities forming a big part of that as well. Alison's members mentioned the commercial members, and Emma's going to pick up a little bit more on that later on. So I think, membership's in a really good place, not resting on our laurels, but we'd like to think what we offer and what we have offered in the last 12 months has helped support that number and keep the growth ticking over. So some of the key things from last year, it's so difficult, as I said, to pick out, sort of 3 or 4. So I would recommend watching our review of the year video. Caritas Charles delivers that. It's on our YouTube channel, and that really summarises all the stuff that we've been doing over the last 12 months for our members. As Alison said, we're primarily a membership organisation, so that's incredibly important that we continue to offer an array of different services and products. So I tried to narrow it down and share with you some of the things that really stood out for me over the last 12 months. And I think the one thing I'd start with is our National Engagement Week that we ran. I think this was a week where we really got to see the impact of engagement across the country. Our members sharing their stories, if you like, of the difference tenant engagements made across the board, and Tpas supporting, spotlighting and showcasing that as well. So I think that week, again, was a big celebration of all that is good when we look at tenant engagement. And thank you to all of you who took part in that, whether it was online or coming to some of our sessions as well. So that was great to see. I think the other thing as well, we went back to our regional events, and there's nothing better than getting out there and actually meeting our members and our members meeting us. So big highlight was seeing our members in person, visiting some great places. I've been to some fab places across the country, met some fab people. And again, it was a real delight to have that networking and seeing that in action, because I think one of the key things for us is that our members really make us, don't they? And the knowledge and the expertise that our members have is really brought together in those regional events. So I think that was another good thing to get back on the road doing those regional events as well. The policy side of things, incredibly important. There's never a dull moment in housing, as we know. You kind of blink and something's changed, or there's some new policy, or there's some new announcement. So we've really tried to get up to speed with that and make sure that we're delivering some key things. So the policy offer, if you like, has been something that we want to keep improving, but also worked hard at getting right last year with government consultations being submitted and policy briefings as well. So we've also had lots of events, whether they've been online, webinars, we've had our conferences as well. So again, this bringing together of our community is incredibly important, and Tpas Connect is a big part of that. That's our online platform, and I'm pleased to announce that's hit over 1,000 members now. So again, you can see that in action, that learning, that support, that networking. So this is something we want to make sure continues as we go forward. So I've only, as I said, been able to talk about a few of the things that have happened in the last year. But again, I think what's really stood out is the role that you as members have played in that, in making it all a success for us. So again, big thanks to you all for being part of our community, really. So looking forward to next year, gosh, as Alison said, it's come around so quick. I think it is about member growth, but it's also about making sure that the members that we got are receiving a quality service with some really first-class excellent benefits as well. So we're setting to work on some key things that we think will help with that. So we're really starting to look at improving our offer for local authorities. We've got some good stuff going up already with our local authority meetups and other things directed at local authorities, but we really want to sort of chunk that up, if you like, and make sure we're offering, a quality service to our local authority members. We also recognise there's been a growth in tenant board membership and wanting to support that. and making sure TPAS is the place people come for resources to support that, for training, and also again for that important networking for tenant board members as well. So that's another area that we'll be focusing on next year as well. Some of you will know we've launched our report, or Kai, one of our tenant associates, has launched a report around engagement and ethnic minorities and how we can improve that. That has been received so well, and we've got a lot of work to do to make sure we take that forward in terms of, again, supporting our members to put into practice some of those key recommendations that are in the report, and ensuring that engagement is really something where there is a seat at everyone for at the table for everyone. So again, that's something we will be looking at. Continuing, as I said, to grow our policy, our training and events, that is something we want to, improve on, maybe look at new technologies and how that can help, but really sort of talking to you as members. And one of the biggest pieces of work we're going to do is a membership survey. So we want to really hear from our members, because ultimately you're going to be co-creating all the improvements with us. So that's going to be coming shortly. We will try and make sure, we alert everybody to it, but do look out for it. And if you can spend a bit of time just giving your feedback, I promise you that will help us shape our services, not only for the next year, but going forward as well. So I think that's a key piece of work. I probably spoke for longer than 5 minutes. I did say I would time myself, but I didn't. So apologies, Alison, if I've overrun slightly. But just to say a big thank you again to all our members for making TPAS what it is. So I'll hand back to you, Alison.
Brilliant, thank you, Louise. We're going to hear from Emma next, who heads up consultancy, which is just an incredibly important part of the work we do at TPAS, and many of you on the call who've used our consultancy services will know the quality of them. We were just talking about earlier about how we don't give anything away at TPAS. We make you work incredibly. It's Emma who's cracking the whip and making our members work as hard as possible to attain the highest standards. Emma's also going to cover a little bit about our commercial membership, because unfortunately Julie Butterworth, who heads up that work stream, is unable to be with us today. So over to you, Em.
Thanks, Alison, and hi everyone. Really excited to be here and see people and get to give you a bit of an update. Like I said, 1st of November was a big day last year for TPAS, so we had a bit of a reshuffle. So Julie became the head of commercial partnerships on the 1st of November, and I'm really pleased to give a bit of an update of the work she's been doing since then and her plans for the future. So it's a new position to develop and enhance the offer to current and future commercial members. And Alison says before, it's that recognition of how important, those suppliers, contractors are in ensuring that tenant engagement happens and people are getting really good services. So she's been working really hard on a value-added programme for members. For 2025-26, going to be 2 in-person events, so linked to the housing conferences in Manchester and Liverpool. That will be exciting to see. Sponsorship package, so really getting that complete package ready again for 2025-26, and developing products. So LinkedIn, actually, there's a really nice synergy between consultancy and commercial around those kind of quality marks, those things that Alison said we work on to really push people for excellence, continuing to improve. So you'll be seeing some commercial quality marks coming out. Collaborating with training, so looking at offers based on commercial partner requirements and tenant expectations, and seeing how that can be developed. In building a business development plan informed by stakeholder analysis. So as Alison said before, we're currently at 50 commercial members. In the renewal process, that's been a big increase. So over the past 12 months, we've seen a 65% increase in commercial members. So, alongside our increase in landlord members, really exciting times for TPAS in terms of that growth and working with more and more organisations across the sector. There was a member survey carried out in January to really understand more about commercial members' motivations for joining us and identify their needs. And Julie's working hard on developing that membership programme, so building on the membership programme for landlords, for commercial members, looking at webinars, spotlight opportunities, roundtables, subject matters, Things like, the spotlight reports from the Housing Ombudsman, such as the repairs in February, and building case studies as well to highlight excellence. Because again, like Louise was saying, really important to highlight where there's really good practice and excellence in the sector, and looking at ways to bring together commercial partners and landlords to share that good practice and that innovation. And again, kind of that link through in terms of our landlord accreditation process that Alison touched on, and that we're really sort of pleased to work with organisations on, looking at that contractor and commercial element as well. So there's 4 contractors currently going through that accreditation process, so we can really support contractors to be excellent in the way they engage with tenants. So I'm not going to bore you to death, but you're going to get 2 updates from me. I'm really sorry. So on the 1st of November, I became the head of consultancy. So I'll give you a really quick summary. Really busy in consultancy. It's been absolutely fantastic to work. Did a quick tot up. Worked with 164 organisations over this past year, so 2024, 2025. Some organisations do multiple projects with us. We'll complete one piece of work and move on to another piece of work. It's really brilliant to be able to do that and see that through with organisations. We've had over 200 inquiries over the financial year and 120 new projects secured over that time. So yeah, busy, and really focused on some key areas of work. So we've worked really hard on really honing in on some of those key things that are really important in continuing to drive that excellence in the sector. So obviously accreditations, we're really delighted. We now have 20 accredited landlords, and it's hard to achieve. I've been through accreditation on the other side of the fence. I know how demanding it is and how much work goes into it. So I won't list you all, but you know who you are, our 20 accredited landlords, and with 3 exemplars as well, who've committed year after year. So an exemplar, you have to have accreditation 3 times to become an exemplar. So it's absolutely wonderful to work with those organisations who are really proactive in continuously improving. We've also got another 26 organisations at various stages of the accreditation process. So excited to have more re-accredited in 2025-26, we're anticipating, and some more new organisations coming forward and going through accreditation. And not everyone will get it, and there was lots of work to do, but it's absolutely brilliant to be working with that many organisations looking to really strive for excellence in how you engage and listen to tenants and ensure they're influencing services and decisions. Our smart reviews are a really great lead in really to accreditation in terms of doing that kind of lighter touch review and assessment. Scrutiny continues to be really strong, which is great. And we newly launched our Scrutiny Assured Quality Mark last year. And thank you to Southern, who I know are on the call, for piloting it with us and being our first Scrutiny Assured Quality Mark recipients. We're excited to really build on that and work with a number of more organisations in 25-26 on that scrutiny excellence and achieving that scrutiny quality mark. Lots and lots of work, and like Louise touched on, lots of local authorities working with us now, which is brilliant to see. A lot of work looking at overarching framework developments and reviews, and really helping organisations strive for that diverse framework that really ensures that they're hearing from the diversity of all of the tenants and customers and residents, however people refer to people living in homes and receiving services, and showing that's really driving influence and improvement up through the governance structures. And allied to that, lots of work with panels, lots of tenant panels, subcommittees, tenant board members, supporting that recruitment and ensuring that those are really impactful as well. We've also had an increase again in independent tenant advisor projects. Lots of work going on out there with regeneration, with refurbishment, with mergers, and continuing to provide that independent tenant advice service for those projects. And we're continuing to develop. So we've got lots of ideas for 2025-26. We had our 2 Collaborate projects. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read those reports on governance and building safety, continuing to build the learning from those and establish those into products out there for you all to access should you choose and should they be useful to you, and other areas of improvement as well and other development that we're looking at. And we've got a growing number of brilliant associates. We're a small but perfectly formed team at Tpas. We really rely on our fantastic associates, and we've got more and more great associates coming to work with and for us bringing a massive range of skills and experience, which is really helping us to continue to build our offer. So hopefully I've kept to time, and I know Paula's going next, but I don't know if Alison, you're doing the bridge between me and Paula, or if it's straight over to Paula.
So thank you, Emma. Just a couple of reflections. I went down to visit a housing association to give them their accreditation just before Christmas, and the buy-in and the palpable sense of achievement in the room really shocked me. I was expecting people to be pleased and just say, oh, here you are, have a photograph, thank you very much. But they wanted to talk about the work they've been doing and the impact of it. And I just felt very, very proud, TPAS chair at the time. So thank you. I think the other reflection on associates is I remember the days when we used to have to go out looking for associates. And I think it's fair to say that people are wanting to come and work with TPAS now. That's been an absolutely massive change, and we've got some incredible associates who want to work with us. So thank you to Emma and her team, and Julie and hers. We'll now go to Paula, who is one of our other 1st of November changes. So Paula is our head of communications and strategy, and is going to tell us what she's up to.
Thanks, Alison. Thanks, Emma. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you all here today. My first AGM for TPAS, which is quite exciting. As Alison said, I'm head of strategy and communications. I was at TPAS from, well, not quite a year yet, so quite a new recruit, covering 2 people's roles from April last year for the marketing and comms side, and then from the 1st of November, I was made head of strategy and communications, so I'm really pleased to be here with you. So just a very quick overview. I know we're very pushed for time. So as part of my role, I'll be advising and working alongside the internal and external stakeholders, which is quite exciting. There's a lot to do around stakeholder engagement, get out there and meet people, be visible at events, and working with clients and partners and implementing our marketing and communications campaigns and projects. So lots to do around the engagement side, and we're already really good at it, but I'm looking forward to doing more on that side. I'll also be overseeing the development of strategic initiatives, hence the title, to achieve new business. And I know Louise has already picked up on that, and Emma. And obviously Julie's not here with us today, but I've already started some work on the commercial elements of TPAS. So great that I can try and drive that area of the business forward and work with Julie on the commercial side, but also on our ever-growing membership numbers, which is fantastic. So alongside that, I'm also the project sponsor for our new CRM system, which I believe has been wanted in TPAS for quite some time. So we've already appointed consultants, UMI, to do that work with us, and work has already started on this project. We're well underway, so to speak. So this will be a great asset for TPAS, both for the business, both internally within teams, to improve our systems and workflow, but more importantly, it will give us that extra intelligence of our customers and our members, something which I think we can really hone in on and see the membership workflow really, and keep key relationships with them. So this will be key to the business. So exciting times on that project. I'm going to say it's going to be live summer. I'm being optimistic. It will be summer this year, and we will let you know more on that, obviously. So obviously, head of comms and marketing, I'm going to continue to build on our marketing and comms activity, build on our social media presence, and lots of different and innovative ways to engage people. So some of my background's the NHS and within the learning disability and autism team, and I think it's so key, especially now, just to make sure everybody is covered in terms of how they access information and communication. So lots of work I'll be doing is reflecting on some of the work I've previously done and trying to implement that at TPAS to make sure we cover all bases in our the way we communicate. So We've got a very strong brand already. We've got a great trusted brand in Tpas. I know everybody, that's some of the feedback I've already picked up on. People are confident with our brand. They know who we are. We've been in business a long time. So I'm going to continue to deliver the right messages and make sure we continue to get lots out there and strengthen our brand. We currently produce in-house within my team the fortnightly newsletter, the e-zine. So it now goes out to over 5,000 people, which is fantastic. And obviously that number will grow. So if you haven't already signed up for that or within your teams as an organisation, as a member, please do so. It goes out every Thursday, every other Thursday. And we make sure we cover policy, hot desk information, which we've already touched on, events and training, obviously what's coming up, highlight any policy changes and work with people like the Ombudsman to share their work and make sure it's disseminated across the membership. So a really useful tool. And I'm also going to be working to target the area around Tpas Connect, which we've already mentioned. So as Louise said, over 1,000 people on that platform already. So I'm going to tie in some of the work we do with that, with the CRM system, which will become live, and delve a bit further into what we've got there as information, what people are discussing, what people are asking, and try and roll out some of that information and use that intelligence again. So great pieces of work to be running alongside each other. Very quickly, I'll be working across the whole of the business. So Louise's area, Emma's and Julie's, who's not here today, and obviously with part of the SLT and the board, just to make sure I'll be looking at the processes and procedures and streamlining what we're doing as well. So comms, it's a big area, but I'm very passionate about wellbeing and internal communications too. So we've got some great people who work at Tpas, lots of long service people, and obviously they love the company. And I'll be looking at how we continue to make Tpas a great employer of choice. So how we attract the best talent should we need to in the future and keep the great talent we've already got. So that will involve some wellbeing initiatives, some charitable endorsements, and creating a robust internal communication strategy. So on that note, that's just a flavour of some of the things to come. But overall, I look forward to building on our stakeholder engagement and mapping and our media relationships. We've got to mention that too. Communications and marketing and our amazing events that actually we do put on for members and others. And obviously getting to know people quite a bit more across the sector.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll hand you back to Alison. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So as you can see, you've seen 3/4 of our SLT, beautifully formed team, full of enthusiasm and expertise and an absolute passion to improve engagement across the sector, and a wonderful group of people. So I hope you agree that we are incredibly well served by our staff team. Before I move on to the next item, we're doing this a bit, I was going to say art about face, but that wouldn't be professional, so I'm going to say back to we have now got the list of apologies, which for the recording were Cheshire West and Chester Council, Progress Group, Steve Biko Housing Association. I'm going to pause for a moment. I think it's Agamemnon Housing Association. Those who know the Old Testament better than I do would probably pronounce it differently. Marion and Bolsover Council. So we'll record those in the minutes. Hi, could people put themselves on mute? That would be great. Thank you. You've heard a bit about all our plans, and you will all know that you can't do anything without money. And I am delighted to welcome Sue Hutchinson from Beavers and Struthers, or Beaver, there's one Beaver and Struthers, who is our auditor, who is going to talk through the results from the 23-24 financial year. So thank you so much for joining us, Sue.
You're welcome, Alison, and apologies I was late if that's what's making you have to say those unprofessional words. But I am delighted to be here and I'm just attempting to share my screen, so forgive me for being a bit hesitant because I'm not the best at these things. So hopefully I will select the right one. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Fabulous. Now it's hidden the button where I make it, oh, forgive me. Hold on. No. Just trying to, if anybody wants to shout out how I make this present itself in a better format.
Slideshow, is it?
There we go. There we go. It's just hidden the little button on my screen. Start. Where does it say start? From beginning. Here we go. Sorry, forgive me. Right. Hopefully that looks better. So, so delighted to be here. And it's quite interesting listening in to colleagues and talking about where you are as an organisation. And typical numbers girl, because I'm an accountant and auditor, but 1,000 members and a 5,000 distribution list for that new, the bi-weekly newsletter is, for me, is amazing. I can remember when we started working with you, and it isn't that long ago. Genuinely isn't that long ago. I've only been at Beavers 10 years. And actually, it's phenomenal. I think it was in its hundreds. So do you know what? First of all, well done. And I'm massively impressed because I loved one of the colleagues said, you as a team, you're small but perfectly formed. And I love that because, I guess we can all resonate with that, how we look in on you all as a team, an organization. But actually, I'm going to add one in there. You punch well above your weight, so well done. Well done. Hats off to everyone involved. But anyhow, I'll get back to what I'm here to do and I'll not take up too much time, I promise. So as always, every year I talk through the financial statements. Very much we're looking a year ago just about in terms of time, but it's that formality that you go through in your AGM. And these were all signed off before Christmas and filed with the regulators on time. And thanks to the team that worked with us on that. So from my perspective, again, a positive story in terms of those financials. So that's your summary income expenditure that you can see there. And I guess what that does is just show you the picture of that growth in income. We call it turnover in this statutory financial statements. But that growth in income, and that very much comes from a growth in your membership income, as well as a growth in some of the new areas, your building and safety collaboration, and your governance collaborate as well. And your in-house training. So I think that all increased in terms of the activities that the team were engaged in. And I guess, bringing in services and bringing in income there. But equally, we have a cost of sales increase as well. So it does cost money to do more, and that cost of sales increase. And I guess in the cost of sales increase, very much directly linked to those increased areas, but just underlying that, and it'll probably be a theme that continues definitely into 25, 26, is an increase in the staffing costs as well in terms of achieving that. And there's a general increase in staffing costs, as we all know. And in terms of that, I guess that underlying, and especially as we move forward with the NIC rate increasing as well. So that will impact TPAS as much as it impacts all of us. Administration expenses again increased, definitely linked to the employment and the staffing costs, giving you an operating surplus of £144,000, less than the previous year, but it's still positive. And it's still, if you look at it compared to turnover, it's nearly 10% of turnover. So from my perspective, that's really, really positive as an organisation. You've covered your costs during the year, as far as I'm concerned. And then the Brucey bonus, because of the way that you've got your money in the bank, and you've been putting it on some higher interest accounts. So the Brucey bonus there is with the higher interest rates that might cost in terms of some organisations, some of you who clearly are out there with funding in the sector, but actually in terms of TPAS itself, then that's given us that increased interest receivable in the year. So overall, a really positive surplus before tax, a little bit of tax to pay. But that £200,000, goes to carry forward in terms of the retained earnings. So at the end of the year, £1.3 million, and I'll say it again, £1.3 million of retained earnings. So that, if we then move to the next slide, is very much shown in the summary of your assets and liabilities at the end of last year. And if we just look at that, then primarily if you receive all your debtors and pay all the creditors off, or it's a lot around timing of your income. So don't panic, you didn't owe £1.1 million to someone. It's a lot about the timing of when we recognise your income. But just say if we drew a line, then basically you've arguably got £1.3 million cash in the bank, which is extremely positive. And as I say, in my lifetime with you, that's been growing and growing, and is there for all of that investment that you've been talking about today, and investing in the future and investing in your infrastructure as well and how you do things. So at the end of the day, in terms of the financial statement, healthy in terms of, I guess, that cash, net cash position at the end of March 2024. And I guess that just then always leads us on to, well, what does that mean in terms of, where we are going forward? And, that strong financial performance just in essence summarizes itself in a technical way in your accounts and in the annual report. And just in terms of, you are a going concern. And you clearly continue to monitor your financial arrangements. Keely does a really good job in terms of monitoring it. And making everyone accountable in the background for the expenditure in particular. But I guess as a board, you do sign off and say that clearly you are a going concern, and my accounts and my audit report always links to that and says that I am in agreement with that as well, which is an important factor in terms of the audit report itself. The other elements of the audit report, in essence, are around the true and fair view of the company's affairs at the end of March and its profit for the year then ended. They've been, as far as I'm concerned, they've been prepared in accordance with the UK accounting standards and requirements, and also the Companies Act, which is your key regulator. So from my perspective, we signed an audit opinion. We call it unmodified. Some people call it clean. But we signed the positive audit opinion at the end of 2024. So that's me in a nutshell. As I say, I'll say it again, I think you do punch above your weight, and I think your financials and your financial strength is sat there as well in terms of doing even more of that in the future. And open up to any questions.
Thank you, Sue. Do you want to stop sharing?
Yeah, find that button, Alison. Thank you.
Brilliant. Does anyone have any questions? Or there's far fewer questions when you've got a bit of cash in the bank than there are when you've got absolutely nothing. I can share that bit of that information with you. If we've not got any questions, can I just reiterate what Sue said, and that's a massive thank you to Keely. Keely is our one-woman finance supremo, who for a small organisation, we're quite a complex organisation in some of the financial things that we do. We employ associates, we work with consultancy clients, as well as dealing with our members, and Keely does a fantastic job. So I think it's really important to sort of acknowledge that and say thank you, and also to say big thank you to Beavers for the help that we get from them. They are trusted friends and partners of Tpas, and we are stronger for our work with you. So thank you. If we haven't got any questions for Sue, and I can't see anything coming back through in the chat, I'll just say a big thank you to her. We have a slight issue in that we are not actually quorate. So what I'm going to do in a moment is adjourn this meeting rather than close it. We do, however, have our Engaging Professionals conference next week in Nottingham, which will be full of our members. And I think what we will do is take 5 minutes of their time to ratify today's meeting. So I think, Deb, I'm looking to you for clarity here. We ask this meeting to accept the financial reports and then get them ratified next week when we reconvene.
Absolutely, that's a good way forward.
Brilliant. So is everybody on this call who's heard from Sue, seen our accounts, happy to accept those financial reports. Brilliant. I'm not going to lie, if somebody said no, I'm not quite sure what I'd do. So I'm really glad that nobody did. So thank you to everyone who's come on the call today. We don't have any other business at the AGM. Looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible next week in Nottingham. We've got an absolutely cracking agenda for the conference, and if not then our tenants conference in July is, I think, the best, most purposeful conference that there is in the housing sector, and also the most fun. So hopefully see as many of you there. Louise, we've got presumably details of the regional meetings will be up on the website.
They are, yeah, ready to book. So get your place. They're going fast as well. Lots of popularity, especially in the Midlands. So I don't know why. But
where are you meeting in the Midlands?
I think it's Wolverhampton. Emma's running that for us. So yeah, maybe it's Emma, you see. People want to go see Emma. But yeah, it's open now. So do come along. It's free. Great events for us to network. And the regulator's going to be there as well. So why not?
Fabulous. Brilliant. So everyone, enjoy it. I don't know what the weather's like with you. It's absolutely Armageddon here. I think we had spring at the weekend. That was it. 2 days. We're back in the depths of winter. But enjoy your the rest of your days, and thank you again for being part of Team Tpas. And see you soon. Bye.